welcome back to Let's Talk About That. We have Kayla today with many delights. How are you doing today?
I am doing all right. I'm a little tired for a Monday. But
Hey, we are all tired. It was a big weekend, right?
That is true.
Mondays are Mondays.
Yeah.
Mondays are Mondays is how it works. So tell us a little bit about your storefront.
So ours is a little different. Mini Delights was actually a pre-existing business that the previous owner sold and kind of just fell into my lap sort of thing. It was a weird timing situation. I was in the middle of looking for something different. I was unhappy at my previous job.
Mhm.
Things, it was just time, and it just worked out really well.
So so basically it was just magic, right? It
was just one thing because in all honesty, I never saw myself as a business owner.
Wow.
I was like, that's really stressful. Like, I don't,
That's a lot
I'm
of
not
work.
sure I want.
a whole lot of work. So like following into like a bake shop,
Mhm.
you couldn't just fall into that. Like, what is your background?
Okay, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that
like,
makes sense.
Yeah, like how'd you
Um,
do that? Yeah.
So I was actually in 6th grade when I decided culinary was my passion.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't stray. I wasn't a kid who was like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this.
It wasn't just like a kid thing.
No.
It was
like,
just kind of like,
this
this
is
is
it.
it. This
Yeah.
is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I went to college for both culinary and pastry. Pastry just
Nice.
kind of was my thing, though. I love cakes. The decorating side of it was way more appealing to me. And then after college, I worked at Notre Dame for about 10 years before I took this on.
Oh, wow.
So you had a little bit of experience
Just
kind
a
of
little,
going into
yeah.
it. Just a couple
little
years,
bit, yeah.
couple years. Yeah. So I'd like to dive into a little bit of the business aspect of it because like it's not like anything else,
No, it's not.
So like talk about like how your business is kind of divided. You mentioned something about that.
So it's a little different because when we first started, we were just coming out of the pandemic, which I was really nervous about
Mhm.
too, because I was like, everything's still kind of weary. Myself, I have a little bit of a germaphobe issue. So I was like, man, this is gonna be fun. So we do have the pre-order side of it, which would be like all of our cakes and our weddings and our graduations and like bigger events. And then the retail side of it, where we have the case that's open for walk-ins during the week. So every week when we prep things out, we have to make sure that we have a specific amount of things that go toward the pre-order stuff and then everything else toward the retail. And you kind of have to split them. So it's a little different.
So
It's
there's
kinda,
a lot of strategy that goes into
it is,
that.
yeah. There's a lot of like Mondays and Tuesdays. I got my paper out. I got my list. So I'm like, okay, this many buttercreams and this many and this, and so yeah, there's a lot.
So is it just you, or is it like talk a little bit about your operation? Like, how is that? I know, like, are you like doing everything for the most part, or
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. So primarily, I do pretty much all the decorating. I did take on an intern last fall who's been with me for almost a year now going. She kind of helps with like the buttercreams and like the baking aspect of it. And then I did take on a girl in high school who kind of helps with like the retail area. So very minimal, very small still. Not a lot of people. So a lot of it does fall on me. So things that don't get done at the end of the day when they go home for their shift, I'm like, oh,
thank you.
you. So
I got it.
but I appreciate them. They're great. Without them, I mean, I would be working like 27-hour days. So
I felt that before.
So
yeah.
how'd you get into the business side of things? Because you went to school for culinary. So how did you learn the business side of things?
That I honestly like that's a tough one because I feel like it just kind of like
has to happen.
yeah, like you just kind of have to be immersed in it. Like you
Yeah.
can't really like during my culinary degree, like I did take some business classes because I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I want to, do like the front of the house type of thing, But it was never something that I was like, oh, I really need to like get in depth on this. So when I took this over, which is also another thing, previous to this, I was like, if I do ever own a business, I would like to go into it with a partner so I can do like,
Just
the baking
focused
and
on
stuff. Yeah.
the operations
Yes.
versus the back office.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So
No, it didn't. And so then it was me. And yeah.
So it was, it's been kind of a learn as you go
Yeah.
situation. So,
So when it comes down to, say, like marketing, like you're doing all of that too.
yes.
Marketing, like the social media stuff.
Yeah.
So are you like baking and you have a camera set up and you're just hitting pictures while you're cooking? And you're just like,
yeah. A lot of people keep telling me, they're like, you need to do that. You know, if you're doing it anyway, why not just record it? And I'm like,
because you can mess up a whole batch.
Right. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah. If I'm doing a cake and I'm like, oh, well, that didn't turn out. We're just going to scrap that whole thing now. So like,
take two.
Yeah.
Take
much.
two. Let's go again. Yeah.
So it does make it a little difficult because I myself am not very social media inclined.
Okay.
So Instagram, when I first, started the page for that, I'm like, hey, how do I do this? Like my younger girls, I'm like, hey, how do we do a boomerang? How do we do?
Yeah.
And they're like, really? I'm like,
yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And they're like all stars. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Like,
yeah. They're like, you know what? Let me just do it. And I'm like, okay, here you go.
Okay. You're like, yes.
Pretty much.
So all of your photography comes from your children.
Yeah, pretty much. My little baker babies.
Yeah, baker. I mean, the photos are amazing.
Thank
you guys do
you.
a really good job
Thanks.
at, especially on social media. That's what caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Perfect.
the photos. The photos are really good and
Thank
they're
you.
really yummy. And
I mean,
that
everybody
helps,
loves
right?
food. Everybody loves
Food.
sweets. And
Yeah.
Well, they do say you eat with your eyes first. So
that's very
Yeah.
true.
That's why your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Right.
That's how-
Yeah.
I could eat the whole cake
Yeah.
right now. Yeah. So, what else what are some of the other obstacles you face? Like really in the day to day?
Day to day, it really kind of just depends on the week. Like there's some weeks where I get a little ambitious and I'm like, oh yeah, we can totally take on that order. It's a small order. And then there's, by the time we get to the weekend, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that to
That just
myself.
happened.
So, but there were some weeks where we had random things. Like we went through a cream cheese shortage for like 3 weeks where I couldn't find cream cheese anywhere. So
And everybody wants that.
Yeah. So we,
Yeah.
that took out our red velvet, that took out our carrot cake, it's weird things or like the,
It's like a part shortage.
yeah, like it is. Or like the skyrocketing egg prices that really hurt us too because we used a lot of eggs.
$8,000 eggs.
Oh my
For
gosh.
real?
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, this looks a little weird. They're like, no, that's right. And I'm like, oh, all right,
So
this is going to be fun. Yeah.
So how did
it was
that?
99 cents last week.
Right. Yeah, within a week, it just, it was awful.
So did you during those shortages, did you adjust your prices to accommodate? Because I know everything costs more.
Yeah, we honestly did not, which in hindsight, I definitely should have. But you get a lot of pushback for stuff like that sometimes because people who aren't in the industry don't really understand why things happen the way they do. So we kind of just tried not to take on orders that included some of those items. Like if we had red velvet cakes that week, I was like, okay, well, we're going to use buttercream instead of cream cheese frosting. Are you okay with that? Sort of thing to try to make up for that a little bit.
So you just pivot a little bit.
Okay.
Or you just say, hey, we're totally out of that right now.
Yeah, this is what happened. I can't do anything.
I can't do that today.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to pass it through to the customer because they're used to that price.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So that is, I feel like that's a big challenge for a lot of business owners right now because of the consumers. They are accustomed to how things kind of were and are. And as we're continuing, with all the other businesses we've talked to as well, everyone's trying to pivot and trying to adjust their prices, but they're getting pushback on some of those.
Yeah,
and,
it's very difficult.
And the challenge is, how do you fight that? Have you seen success in doing that by just staying at the same price? Has that kept you steady? Or do you feel like if you increase your prices, do you think that would hurt you in any way?
I do feel like we do get kind of a little bit of pushback, and it all depends on the person. Like we could have some people come in and they're like, oh, that's not bad. And we have other people come in that are like, oh, that's outrageous. So it's very, it's kind of weird. It's interesting to see the pattern to it too. But it is difficult because even if we were to go up like $2 a dozen per cupcakes or something like that, like there would be people that would, question it or something like that. So we
This
definitely,
cupcake is $1 more.
Yeah,
Oh my
pretty
God.
much.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah, so it is a very delicate process for sure. So we kind of will eventually have to go through another price increase again just because things keep rising.
Well, I think it's something, there's an interesting component to what we need to highlight here is your background too. This is, you're a culinary expert in your space.
Right.
You're not, you didn't just start this just, because that was your hobby.
Right.
This is your passion. So the product that they're getting is professional, a professionally made product, right? So I think part of it is marketing does help that.
Yeah.
Because today people are hearing the product that they're getting is something that's specialized.
Yeah.
So guys, when the prices go up,
Right.
sorry, that's what it is.
I mean, it's just the way things work.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's just same thing with gas.
Oh, yeah.
You go to get gas for your car. Same thing with the eggs when you go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, everything goes up at some point or goes down at some point, and you just got to work around it.
So, okay, so now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
Okay. So how do you stand up against like your Martin's bakeries and your Meyer and all these? They have like these little mini operations that they have more people and they're doing volume.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mass volume. Okay. So like, how do you stand out from them? And I know the answer to this, but I want to hear your take on this. What do you
I feel like our stuff with being a small business, like everything is more personal.
Yeah.
Like you get that one-on-one contact with people. You get to, whether it be email, face-to-face, or over phone, like you get that connection with the people. It's not just coming out of like Martin Central Bakery where it's like assembly line style package out the door. Like you never see a person. So I do like that aspect of it. Also being a small business, we're more creative to doing custom things. So it's not just, you see what you get sort of thing. Like I can adjust, whether it be flavors, like decoration, things like that. So I feel like there's a lot of little things that kind of make that difference. But yes, we are much smaller.
Yeah. And it's the aesthetics, right? Like it's like you said, more personalized.
Yeah.
It's a better look and feel. And you get, also, I mean, you have to look at it. You're kind of like a mad scientist, right? Like, hey, you're getting a scientist to make your pastries.
Baking science.
Yeah. So it is though. Like you're like a mixologist. You're like, do you ever experiment with like different flavors, like combinations? Talk a little bit about that.
So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of the flavors. Like I just started doing a pineapple cupcake. I
saw that on
I
Facebook,
wanted to do like a pineapple upside down thing, but you can't really do that as a cupcake. For one, you have to invert the cake and, it has to be hot when you do that because the brown sugar and all that other stuff. So
chemistry.
Right? So yeah, I tried to figure out a way to do that and we ended up just going with straight pineapple. But the macaroons are one thing that we do a lot of different flavor combinations for. If I can find anything in an essence or extract, like I am immediately trying to put it in one of those. So
that's awesome.
So what are some of your favorite like desserts that you have there? Some customer favorites?
So pretty much anything strawberry. Like people love strawberry, whether it be the cakes, the macaroons, a custom order. I will do chocolate covered strawberries. We don't carry that for retail though, just because especially in the summer with the humidity and stuff, they get really weird.
Right.
The key lime tarts that I started doing when I first took over have been a huge thing. Anything lemon seems to be pretty popular too. So
it's a lot of so refreshing.
Yeah, a lot of the fresh flavors, a lot of the fruit flavors. But you also can't go wrong with chocolate. Like our Oreo and Oreo are like
it's the constant.
Yeah,
you're like,
so
you're always going to win there.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it kind of depends on the week too, because some weeks like we could have like all of our fruit ones go, and the next week it's like all chocolate. So it just there's really no
holidays or birthdays or whatever coming up. And
So what's the best day to come to your shop where it's not going to be like too busy and you have a chance to explore a little bit?
I think Thursdays right now are kind of our slower days because we are open later on Thursdays. So we have that chance for people to come in after work who work until like 5 o'clock, which is something we're doing through the summer. So we're staying open until 7 p.m. on Thursdays throughout, I think, August or September or something like that. So yeah, those are pretty slow compared to like our Fridays and Saturdays.
Like as of today. Now
Right, yeah. Now Thursdays are
Now
gonna be
Thursdays
packed.
are out. Thursdays are out.
Right.
Tuesdays.
We have to open back up to
Move back
Wednesdays.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wednesday till 8.
Right.
Let's go. So, do you collaborate with any of the other businesses around in your area?
I have not had a chance to. That's something I would love to do. I would love to reach out to like Jeannie at the Vine and maybe do
Okay.
like a summer dessert for them. Erica over at
Grace?
Grace.
Uh-huh.
We
We
have
actually
worked
had
with
her.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done some stuff in the past. We've worked together.
She's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. I love her. She's great.
Mhm.
Eventually I would like to try and go, down the whole strip of downtown, starting with like Yakida and be like, hey, do you guys want some stout
nice.
brownies? Or do you, trying to keep it custom to like what they do sort of
So
thing.
could you prepare something like ahead of time, like fresh, maybe so it's for the early morning so they can have a minimum supply?
Yeah,
you know?
that is definitely
So-
something that I would want to do with restaurants. Like if we were to partner with anybody, it would be made day of sort of thing. And if we were like, oh, Friday, let's try 6 of these. And if they sell out, they sell out.
Right.
Which is great because then they can always up it later on. Or if they
Right.
don't, and be like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, well, we need to take that
Experiment.
down to 4.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So which store? You said the Vine?
Yeah, I would
The
like
restaurant.
to eventually maybe do something at the Vine or Yakida or 523 or
523.
maybe partnering with Vanilla Bean and making ice cream sandwiches or so.
Oh, that'd be such a cool idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
But I have yet to reach out
And
to
why
all those
not? You
people.
could probably can get in with Brass Elk too.
Mhm.
Why not?
Yeah.
That would be a good
That
one.
would be a good one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a goal for sure that I would like to do, but I need to have time to sit down and think the process out and be like, oh, hey, this is, this is the plan. This is the
Right.
idea. So.
Well, part of what we're doing here on the show too, as well, is we are networking businesses
Mhm.
together. So that's kind of one of the main objectives is
Right.
help each other discover the synergies
Mhm.
you have. So basically you have your ice creams, those will go really well, desserts. What other type of areas do you feel like you think your product complements outside of, say, well, you have the Linux that's
Mhm.
right down where, like, so do you do a lot of events? Do you do any of those right now?
Not downtown. Not really. We haven't done a whole lot there. A lot of the stuff that we do catering wise is
Mhm.
pretty much weddings right now or big like corporate events.
You would be slammed if
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you get the Linux. That would
I would be
because I know they're
totally
going to
okay
pick
with
up.
that though.
It's be like I'm totally good with it, right?
Yeah.
Just keep bringing it, right?
Yes.
So, what are some of the advice you could give to, say, others that may want to start like a bakery or a similar business like yours, when you first delve into it? Like, what would you say you need to be prepared for?
Not having a lot of free time. Like that was a big one because I
That's
feel like some
respectable.
people, they get into it and I don't think people realize it's really like 24 hours a day. Like
Even when you're not working, you're thinking about
yeah,
it.
when you go to sleep
Mhm.
at night, you're dreaming about it, and so
Mhm.
it takes a lot. And for anybody who's kind of on the fence, like I would say, just do it. Like it is scary, it is terrifying sometimes, but like if you don't do it, I feel like people often, more times than not, end up regretting.
Right.
Not
Wondering
doing
what
it,
if.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So definitely pushing through. And as cheesy as it sounds, try to expect the unexpected because the first year
It's going to happen.
it's full of
Yeah.
it's full of things that you never thought you would have to come across or deal with, and so it's as much as it's easier said than done, but the trying to keep the stress levels to a minimum. Like you can control the things that you can, and what you
Mhm.
can't control, like you just have to try to roll with, and that is very difficult because I am a very like everything has to be in its place,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But yeah, that humbled me real quick in this first year for sure. So It's a lot. It's a roller coaster. It's exciting. It's scary. It's, everything in between. So
lots of crying moments.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like,
you
hey,
do that in the
expect to
closet
cry.
where nobody can see you though.
Yeah.
So it's
Or in
fine.
the pillow.
Yeah.
It happens. It's going to happen.
Mhm.
So, how would, if we wanted to book an event, what would be the best way to get in since you're like ultra busy and slammed? What is the best way?
I would say email is probably the easiest way. So that way we have a thread that I can go back to. Because there are times where I'm like in the middle of stuff and I'll open an email and forget to respond for like 4 days. And I feel awful about doing that. But it does happen. So email is probably the best way. Phone call would probably be the next best way. But if it's on a day that we're busy, it's a little bit harder. So it ends up kind of going to voicemail, but I'd rather answer emails than listen to a bunch of voicemails because it takes a little bit longer and then you got to write everything down and make sure
all the details.
Yeah, have all the notes. So
do they say cream cheese or
right? Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't remember.
Just cheddar cheese.
Right.
What? Hey.
Oh, savory cakes.
Savory cakes,
There
right?
we go.
Yeah. Could happen. Cool. So, what other advice do you think you could give us so we're a marketing company and we like really enjoy taking photos of food. Okay. So that's like our big thing. What are some of the things you think that you have in your store that are just super photogenic? Like some of because I know all of it's good.
Gosh.
Like here's the Buster right here.
I would say, if you guys came on at a day, like I was doing custom cake work or something like that, I would say those are probably like the most fun to take pictures of because they're all so different.
Right.
Like this upcoming weekend, just to give like a couple examples of variety, like I have a birthday party that has a dairy cow cake, like with ears and like
that's so cute.
We have a ladybug one, Spider-Man. So like they are just all so different. Like there's just such a wide variety, but those I think are the most fun to take pictures of. Not that the cupcakes aren't, but the cakes are more fun.
Yeah, for sure. So do you ever like do combinations with like the cupcakes with the other cakes and like make little, so that's how you're stacking them with little elements. So do you go to that level where you're like making the cow? So like it's a cow, like actually shaped like one? Do you go to that level?
Sometimes. I don't do too many, I call them carved cakes because you have to sculpt them. Because those are a little pricier. So people usually just do the cake to make it, look like something.
Like the head of a cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the carved cakes are super fun though. I've done a handful of them in the past. I've done Frankenstein's head, before. So it's, the 3D element on those is a lot of fun. So every once in a while I do get to do the ones like that.
So basically you have a little bit of a design background too. So it's not just really culinary, it's kind of crossing.
Art. Yeah, there is definitely an art to it for sure.
No pun intended.
Right?
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, of course.
If there's anything that we can do to help you, feel free to reach out. But also, if you're interested in cakes and delights, you know where to go. So
where can people find you?
So our address is a little weird. So we have a Main Street address in downtown, but we are actually around the back side of the building. So we have that little decorative alleyway in between Secret Door Games and the marketing company in front of us. So down the alleyway, and we are directly off to the left-hand side. So I would eventually like to get with the city and maybe do like a little cupcake path all the way down to us or something.
Yeah,
so.
You should just do it. Like they'll be fine with it. It's fine.
Well, I'm sure they probably wouldn't even. It would take a while for them to notice.
Yeah, and by the time they've worn out, you just put some new ones.
Yeah,
on.
that's true.
It's okay.
So I'm just adding to the decor in the alleyway. So
yeah, this is what's better to ask for forgiveness.
Right.
Yeah.
So just do it. Just do it. Just like you said before, just do it.
Right. So yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Just jump in. We're
Just
putting the
jump in.
cupcakes down.
It's okay. It's fine.
And you have socials or website?
Yes. So we, our website, actually, we have not had redesigned yet, where I've
Okay.
been in the process of it for like the last year, but it takes a decent amount of time to sit down and work out like every little detail that you want. So I do not advise people to go to our website currently because it is outdated. So Facebook is probably our biggest social media to follow, and then Instagram would be our second.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Appreciate you.
problem. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
See you guys on the next show.